Hello there, listeners. My name's Tommy.
My name's Aaron.
And welcome to the Super Pod Saga, the podcast where we are on a journey to talk about every single topic in the history of video games.
And there are no stops.
No stops.
No stops.
No. There can't be, because if we stop, then we won't talk about everything, and then you would miss out. And today's topic is video game endings. I picked this one this week. It's so good endings, bad endings, weird endings. We're going to talk about them all. How many did you bring to the table, Aaron?
I brought, what, 1, 2, 3, about 7? 1, 2, 3? Yes, 7.
I have 8 from 7 games, so that's perfect.
Awesome. Hell yeah.
Perfect. I'm excited for this one because you are a person who completes many video games, and I'm a person who barely completes any video games. My history of games, like, I was known to my college friends as the guy who never finishes a game. But there are a few games that I have finished, and I'm excited to talk about them. You'd say that, right? That you finish a lot of games?
I'd say I finished a pretty decent amount, but, like, there's quite a few that I started, got to the middle of, and then just stopped for whatever reason.
There were even good games that I just stopped playing, but I just don't have the attention span sometimes. But let's start with video game endings. Since this is my topic, I'm going to go first, if that's okay. And I'm going to talk about my favorite video game ending of all time from my favorite video game of all time, Red Dead Redemption 1. Oh, it gets to my soul. So, to start with some background info, the Red Dead Redemption 1, the story is you play as John Marston, a guy who used to be a real bad guy. He was in a gang of robbers and thieves and murderers, and he wanted out of it. He had a wife and a son, and so he moves on from that. But then, before the events of Red Dead Redemption 1, the government kidnaps your family and holds them hostage and says, you have to go and hunt down your former gang members, the 3 main ones, and then you can have your family back. And so that's your motivation. Yeah, right? The government does it. Can you believe that? The government being rude?
I know.
And so you go through the game, you kill off those 3 people, and you get your family back. And you start doing these missions that are just like normal family missions, and it feels great. You're like teaching your son how to hunt, and you're getting cattle for your farm, and it just feels great. And you're like, oh, this is what I wanted this whole time. Some people didn't like that. Some people were like, where's my action? But I was like, this is a great prize. And
where's my hog tying?
Yeah, exactly. I loved it. And then one day you're out doing your farming stuff, and you come back, and your wife's like, hey, the military's coming. And you're like, what?
Shit.
So you have to try and fight them off as they're coming to get you. It turns out the government can't handle keeping you alive because of everything that you know about what they did. And so the last scene... Oh, by the way, there's going to be full spoilers for everything here. So if you hear a game that you don't want to have spoiled, just like skip ahead a bit. But we're not going to hold anything back because, we're talking about endings.
And we're pretty cool.
Yeah, exactly. And so you're in the barn, and you like walk out of the barn, and it's like a row of 12 lawmen in front of you, and it goes into the slow motion thing, which usually lets you target people to shoot them all, and you don't have enough time. Like, you can shoot a few of them, but then they gun you down, and John Marston dies. But guess what? Say what?
Man. What? What? Sorry. What?
That's not the real end. It skips ahead like 10 years, and you take over as John Marston's son, and you find out the location of those 2 government agents that kidnapped him 10 years ago, and you actually find them, and you confront them, and you're like, hey, you really ruined my life, and like killed my dad, and that wasn't cool. And then you kill them and get your revenge. And then it pops up, like, after you kill the last guy, it just goes black and it says redemption in red letters and the credits roll.
Nice.
Oh, it's such a good ending. And it's like 3 different stages of it, too, and they're all so good. Oh, love it.
That is pretty rad. Can't beat Wild West.
No, you can't. There needs to be more Wild West games.
Oh, man. So one of the first ones that I had written down was ending from Dragon's Dogma because it's wild.
Oh, yes, it is. I forgot. I actually finished that game. That's one of the few games I finished.
Yeah, that was a good one. It was it was a super weird ending. What? Oh man, let's see if I remember it. So you, the Arisen, what is it? That dragon comes along and rips your heart out, and he challenges you like, "Hey, fool, fight me, and you can go back to living a quiet life, or become a god, or something like that."
Yeah.
Uh, and then you can choose to what is it? And then you can choose after that to fight God to become God, or he just sends you back down to the earth below for whatever. But if you do choose to become God and you beat him, you walk around like the little like heaven like godly area, I forget what it's called, and you can also like go down to like the actual world below, but you can't interact with anything, and you can't interact with like anybody. You're just basically like a ghost or god or whatever.
Yeah, it was so weird. You're just literally a ghostly figure walking around. Like, they went through with, like, yeah, you're a god now. You can just go wherever, but you can't actually interact with anything.
But they also give you this dagger or knife or something like that you can use to kill yourself.
Oh.
And then you basically like break the cycle of like dragons and arisen and shit. And then what is it? Your arisen takes over your body or something like that, and then the game ends like that pretty much.
It went a lot of places, because, like, from the beginning through most of the game, it's kind of like a Skyrim-like, I want to say, where you're just in this old-timey world, and there's dragons and monsters and stuff. And then at the end, it just flips everything on its head, and it's like, no, you can be a god, and, like, we've got all this heaven thing, and do you remember what the deal with the pawns was? I think there was an ending where you became your pawn, or your pawn became you. Do you remember the specifics of that?
Yeah, that was like the true ending thing, because like the pawns can only be recruited by the Arisen or something like that through like portals to other worlds or something, I forget. But yeah, like the real ending of the game was like when you're the god guy and you use that knife to kill yourself. Then you wake up or whatever, and or I guess you don't wake up because your pawn is inside of your body.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, that's the real ending to it. Is your pawn basically takes your body.
For some more explanation in that game, we could have used this one in the mechanics episode, because it was neat. I thought the pawns idea.
That was.
You can create a companion for yourself and like fit them with armor and weapons and stuff, and give them fighting styles, and then you can put them up in like a spirit house thing, and other people can pick them to go on adventures with them, and then they come back to you with the stuff that they got in their adventure. And yeah, the true ending, I guess, is the pawn gets to take over your body and they become a real boy. And
yeah, they do.
You're supposed to know that because you wake up and your pawn's voice comes out of your mouth. But when I had that, my voice was so similar to my pawn's that I didn't even realize that was what happened.
But that game, like the multi, or I guess not multi-class, but like the like advanced classes, like you start off with like what mage, warrior, and like archer or whatever, but then it gets pretty rad with those like advanced classes or whatever. That game was so cool.
Do you want to be disappointed in me? I never experienced any of those advanced classes. I picked Archer and then stuck with it the whole way. I just went full Archer and never got anything cool. And I saw GIFs later of people doing all these crazy spells, even like Archer stuff, and I'm like, what is going on?
How did you not? Did you not pay like a whole lot of attention to the class part, or what?
I'm boring, and I was like, I'm gonna stick to being an Archer. That's all I'm gonna do. Why would I do anything else? I'm an Archer. That was at the point in my life where I was like, ultimate realism. That was weird.
I mean, they had like an advanced archery like class. I love you, Tommy.
No, I'm sorry, I'm a disappointment.
No, you're not. Go ahead with your next ending.
Okay. This could be a controversial one. Did you ever play BioShock Infinite?
Oh, what? Oh man, I'm ready for this. Yeah, that ending was so good. I'm ready for this one.
Yes, I thought it was good too. I think it's a good ending. A lot of people say it's a bad ending, but I loved it. I was taken. It was like a roller coaster ride. Um, I can't even give all the specifics because it's a lot of stuff going on. But it's
Yeah.
it's an so the main game is just like an adventure. You go to the city in the sky. What was it even called?
Like it was Columbia.
Columbia. Yeah, because Rapture was the one in the water, and you're just trying to
Yeah.
stop the bad guy from doing bad things. And then at the end, your companion, who has Elizabeth, who has like
Yep.
she can make portals to other dimensions or whatever, reveals that there are like it's a multiverse. It was a multiverse before multiverses were cool because this is like a 10-year-old game, and
Yeah.
like the first game is a different universe, and in these universes the same thing happens. A man rises to power, he creates a city, and it all goes bad. And so you just go through these lighthouses from lighthouse to lighthouse. You even go through Rapture from the first two games, and it was just such an incredible visual experience. Like, I didn't understand what was happening, but I just loved the ride.
I remember when I beat that game, I didn't understand a whole lot of what happened, so I looked it up on the internet, and it was like the main bad guy basically is the main character that you play, but
Mhm.
like it's just different. Oh, it was like different versions of the main character losing Elizabeth or something like that,
Yeah.
and so it was some real Donnie Darko like convoluted shit. I totally forget, but yeah, it was a trip for sure.
I actually finished the game on the day of my college graduation, like before I went to the commencement or whatever where you get your thing, because it was my roommate's on his new PC and we were going to be moving away that day, so I had to like play it for. I woke up at like 5 a.m. and played it until 10 a.m. just to try and finish it real quick because I knew I wouldn't have a chance.
Damn.
I'm glad you
I'm
think it's
also
good
like
too. I'm glad you think it's good too.
Yeah. It was such a crazy departure from the first two games too, because like the first one had a real gnarly twist at the end and it was good. The second one, like it was good.
I
Then
think
Infinite was just yeah.
Yeah, obviously the first BioShock ending is like an all-time top ending, but I've never played it because it's a scary game.
Well, it's not all that scary though.
It's scary. I remember playing the demo and I couldn't even finish it. There was a creepy lady
Oh.
with a stroller, and I was like, not doing this, and I turned it off. Uninstalled it.
Oh man. That brings me to my next ending then.
Mhm.
Are you ready?
Yes, I'm ready.
Oh man. Okay, so Resident Evil 8, right?
Oh, yeah.
Oh man. Did you get to the end of that?
I just said I don't play scary games, but I watch many YouTubers
Oh,
play it.
yeah. Okay, so the ending was kind of wild. So I never beat Resident Evil 7 because like that one actually creeped the shit out of the literal shit out of me. That one was like, oh, it was like I love scary games, but like Resident Evil 7 and Alien Isolation are two of like the fucking creepiest games
Yeah.
ever. But no, wait. So Resident Evil 8. What is it? So you beat who's the main bad person again? I already forget.
The
You
metal
beat
guy
the main-
or the angel.
I think it was. There's like some main like mother figure after you beat the
Yeah,
metal
yeah.
guy. But
Mother
basically-
Miranda.
Yes. There you go. That's it. Okay, so you beat her, and what is it? It turns out that the main character you're playing, what's his
Yeah.
name? Ethan.
Ethan, yeah.
Turns out he died in Resident Evil 7, but was reanimated because of all the mold he came into contact with or whatever. So he's literally this like walking like mold creature, and what was it? And Mother Miranda was behind the whole shit with Resident Evil 7. So like in the molds, so because you killed her, the mold starts to deteriorate or become ineffective or something, and so like the main character guy, Ethan, I think, dies, and the baby you were looking for the whole entire game, like she grows up and she goes to visit her father's grave, and it's implied that maybe there's going to be another game with her or something like that. But
that
yes,
was
what an absolute trip.
Yeah, that was I have a question about that ending, because they show like, I don't even know, it's like an overhead view of him and it just shows him shambling along because he's a mold creature and apparently has been a mold creature the whole game. So how does that work with how he's going through the game shooting everything?
I think it explained how he was able to survive basically fucking dying and just getting the absolute piss beat out of him.
Yeah, that's like, right. His hands. His poor hands.
Yeah, because close to the beginning of that game, he gets his hand cut off, and then you can like reattach it by like pouring liquid on it, or like something like that.
He just plops it back on. He's like, "All right, good to go."
doesn't even question it. He just pours like Mountain Dew on it, and it's like, yeah.
It's like not even a goop. It's a splashy liquid.
Yeah. Like
I love that actually gets explained though, because that's just like as you're doing it, you're like, this is stupid. Why is this doesn't make any sense? How are his hands even? Like, it just starts with a finger and he gets stabbed in it, and then they just like go the whole way and cut it off, and you're like, this is literally impossible. And then they explain it because he's a mold man, obviously.
Really is. It reminds me of like Far Cry 2 and 3, where it'd be like, you'd be like set on fire or whatever, and like if there was like a self-heal mechanic where like your dude would just you would like wrap his arm up in gauze or like pick a bullet out of himself, but yeah, it would be pretty much random. So you'd be on fire and you'd be like, oh, better heal, and you'd pluck a bullet out of your arm. Like, where the hell did that come?
That's so funny.
Yeah. 0 sense. Yeah, no, that was a really good one.
Speaking of weird things, I'm gonna do my first of 2 weird endings. I genuinely don't know if it's a good ending or a bad ending, but it's weird, and that's the ending to Inside. Did you play Inside?
I played it, but I haven't finished it. I beat Limbo twice, but I haven't finished Inside.
Oh, is it okay if I spoil the ending of Inside?
Go for it, man.
Okay. So, throughout the game of Inside, you're a little boy, and it's a side-scroller, I guess you could call it. And you go through, like, these facilities and all these different scary places, and you're just a little boy trying to escape. And eventually, you come to a point where you fall in this big, watery container. Like, usually all the people are trying to attack you, but you get to a point where there's all these scientists, and you're like walking past and they don't even notice you. They're all running themselves to this giant watery container, and they're looking into it, and it's this big ugly blob of legs and arms, and mostly legs and arms. and you end up accidentally falling in there, and when you swim too close to the blob, it sucks you into it, and you become part of the blob. And you then smash your way out of the holding cell, and you just start slaughtering everyone on your way out of the facility. You try to escape the facility as this giant blob, and it's horrifying. Everyone's running away from you, screaming. You're the movie monster, and you like actually crush them, and you see their bones falling out. It's gruesome, and eventually you smash your way out of the facility, and you tumble down this mountain, this forest, smashing into trees and stuff, and you come to a stop next to a beach, and it's just the blob is laying there on the beach, and the credits roll. So,
wow, I never expected that.
Yeah, right? It's an incredible ending sequence, absolutely fantastic. But I have no idea what the purpose of it was, what it's trying to say, if it's good or bad. But it certainly was a thing.
Yeah, I'm kind of having a little bit of trouble wrapping my head around that too. I think it sounds good. Like you escape.
It's fun as heck, but
yeah, bittersweet.
I just don't know how to feel about it.
That is that's a pretty
if
fun
you get a chance, they sold Blob purchasable. What would you even call it? Like it was a
like DLC.
no, it was a physical blob that you could buy that was made with like sex toy material, so it feels actually fleshy and gross.
Like a figure.
Yeah, like a figure. There you go. That's the word.
Nice.
Yeah, look it up. It even like looks fleshy and gross, and yeah, a sex toy company made it for the developers to sell.
Side game.
I
Blob.
searched inside blob figure.
Okay, I'm doing that real fast.
Yeah, you gotta see it and give the audience your thoughts.
Blob figure. I'm so excited. Ooh. All right. Hell yeah. It's it reminds me of those old cartoons where when people got into a fight, it'd be like a cloud of smoke with like arms and legs kind of
yeah,
popping
except
out.
instead of a cloud of smoke, it's flesh.
Hell yeah, that's cool. So let's see, what do I got? Oh yeah, I just finished SteamWorld Dig 2 the other day.
Ooh.
That was so good. What's so the SteamWorld series is just really, really good. Like each game is just really good on its own. I love that. I love that series so much. But what's cool is like for the longest time I thought each game was just kind of unrelated, but SteamWorld Dig 2 kind of like connects Dig 2 and Heist, and I'm not at all sure about where the hell Quest is, but so the whole, I guess, plot with 2 is that you're looking for Rusty, who is the main guy from the first Dig, and everybody keeps saying like, oh, he's evil, he's like making all these devices that cause earthquakes, and he's blowing things up, and then you find this like colony of humans underground, and they're like, oh yeah, you like we don't know where Rusty is, but you can help us stop these earthquakes by destroying these doomsday devices, and they point them out to you on your map, and then so you go like destroy them, because obviously you don't want the earthquakes to like shatter the earth or whatever.
Yeah.
But so you break all those devices, and then like something's real fishy because like the earthquakes are still happening, and they've actually gotten worse once you destroy them. So you go back to the colony of humans to talk to their leader, and it was like nobody's there. Everybody's like gone. So you what is it? So there was like some hidden chamber that you wander on into, and the leader of those humans actually has Rusty, and she's using him to power some like robotic mech suit thing. And basically it turns out that that Rusty made the doomsday devices were actually like, I forget what she called them, but they were basically preventing her from using her full power to convert something into this stuff called moon juice, so that she can enslave all humans or something like that. But basically, you beat her, and some like self-destruct sequence starts. So you and Rusty try to escape, and all throughout the game too, you have this little wispy like kind of like Navi from Ocarina of Time and stuff. You have like a little guy like that. His name's Finn, and he helps you escape by he boots up this teleportation device and gets you above ground so you can go on a rocket with everybody else in town and escape the Earth, because the Earth is for sure gonna explode.
Oh.
But yeah, so the Earth does explode.
Oh wow.
Fenn does not make it out, as far as you can tell. And it basically just leads off in a SteamWorld Heist, because like the whole thing with Heist is that there's no more Earth, so there's like space pirates and shit.
Whoa.
But then there was a DLC for SteamWorld Heist that brings back Ben, and like he's like built himself a whole new body out of like trash parts and stuff. But yeah, it's cool to see them basically link together Dig 2, and Heist. That was
Yeah,
awesome.
that's incredible. I love when games do that when you don't expect it to. I can't think of any other examples where that happened because it's so hard to do, but that's so cool.
Yeah, it was. I wasn't expecting. I wasn't expecting a whole lot out of the story of that game, but yeah, it was badass.
That's
It
cool.
was such a great game.
And going through with exploding the Earth, that takes a lot of guts too.
Yeah, it does. We don't need Earth anyway. Space is pretty sweet.
Space is sweet. I want to go someday, but I'm afraid that I never
Elon
will.
Musk, hit us up.
Right?
This video, or this podcast, talks about Elon Musk.
I'm going back to a good ending, and you're not going to believe this, but I actually liked some of the endings from this game called The Stanley Parable, and I just want to talk about one of them.
It's okay.
The Stanley Parable has
Man, I didn't see this coming.
many endings, but my favorite one is again, the game is all about choice. The narrator tries to tell you what to do, and you can do what he says or not do what he says. And if you continuously disobey him, he will be like, "Okay, Stanley, you got to work with me here. You obviously don't like the game. What can we let's try. Let me just try changing something and see if it's better for you." And he puts you back to the first choice, where it's the left or right door, but he's added a third door, and you can pick any door, and then he's like, okay, on a scale of 1 to 5, did this improve the experience? And you rate it, and he's like, okay, let me try something else. He puts you back, same thing, 3 doors, but now there's a scoreboard on the left side that shows like the Stanley Parable high score, and it shows you in dead last, and then you rate it or whatever, and man, this is. As I'm saying this, I'm remembering how long this is, so I'm going to try and cut it because there's more stuff. Eventually, he gets to the point where he's like, this is from the original Stanley Parable. It's different in the Ultra Deluxe, but I'm just talking about the original Stanley Parable. And he eventually gets to a point where he's like, okay, if you don't like my game, then we're going to find a different game to play. And the loading screen goes, and loading screen pops away, and you're in Minecraft. He's like, oh, what's this? It looks like we can mine and craft things. And he starts building a house and stuff, and you can just walk around. You can't actually really do anything. And then eventually he's like, I'm bored of this. Let's play something else. And the loading screen comes, and then you're in Portal. It's the first stage of Portal. And you can actually walk around, and there's a puzzle, and he's like, do you think you can actually solve this? It's just putting the block on the button. He's like, wow, you did it. and then he before you get on the elevator, he pulls it away, and he's like, you know what? I'm just going to leave. You do whatever you want. And then you jump into the hole and it goes into something else. But just that idea that like they had a game where they put you in other games was incredible. I don't know how they got the rights to do that, but it was such an incredible thing to experience.
That is really cool. That game just sounds... It doesn't sound like anything I've ever played before. Like, you describe it as like a walking simulator, but like it sounds like... Can't put it into words. It sounds pretty rad.
Maybe you'll get to hear another ending later in the podcast.
we'll circle back to that one, the ending thing. Oh man, what else do I got here? Oh yeah, So Dragon Quest V. One of my probably is still my favorite in the series. 11 was really good, but 5 is the best.
From 1992.
Oh yeah,
what did you play it on?
I played the DS remake from like 2009, I think. But what's really rad about it is so what sets 5 apart from other Dragon Quests is that like it kind of play like the main character you play as, you basically play through like various stages in his life. So you start out as like a kid, and you're going on an adventure with your dad, and you go to like this one place, and you venture off on your own with like some other kid or something, and your dad tries to like save you, but he dies. You end up being enslaved. Then you grow up to be like a teenager or something, yada yada yada. Basically, you play like the main character through like various stages of his life. Like you get married, and you actually get to pick like which. There's like three girls you can pick to get married
Ooh.
to, and they actually make a difference with your kids that you have later on. Because like one girl will make them your daughter more inclined to magic or something like that, and
Just
it'll
like
affect
real
their parent.
life.
Yeah, it's crazy. But so the end. Well, I guess there's a lot more. So basically, the end is like what leads up to the end, I should say, is like so you, your wife, and your two kids. You're all a party of four. You go beat the shit out of like the main evil, like ultimate evil essence guy, and basically like that's you go back to this kingdom that you discovered you're actually the heir to. You're actually the king to this like forgotten kingdom that your father left behind. All this stuff, but yeah, basically just you beat his ass, you go back to your kingdom and celebrate, and yeah, you just live after having your ass handed to you like almost your entire life, you just settle down with your family and just chill out. And I thought that was really neat. I like that.
I love that. I love endings that actually have the you get to see the aftermath and it's happy.
Cause like that main dude has a lot happen to him. There was one point where like what is it? After you have your kids, no, the main character and his wife are turned to stone, and then you play as the two kids, and you have to try to find a way to unstonify them or whatever, and then there's a lot. It's great. It's such a good game.
Yeah, this sounds really good. I like I said, I haven't experienced enough Dragon Quest. I need to do that more. I need to somehow find time for that.
If you ever get a chance, I'd probably if you ever get a chance to play Dragon Quest V, it's really cool. I mean, the DS version is definitely hiked up in price now.
Is it on phones?
I'm pretty sure it is actually.
I'm getting my Google Play credits built up again.
Oh,
yep, Android.
Dude.
I'll have to look that up after we're done recording.
One of my favorite parts of it too is that before you get your wife and your kids, you don't have like a traditional party of people you meet along the way, like monsters. Like it's described as like the main character is just so loved by everybody that like monsters will like they'll be like, oh, this dude's so cool, and like certain monsters like you fight at the end of the battle, they'll be like, hey, can I join you? And then yeah, you have little monsters in your party, and you can build them up. Like, yeah, it's awesome.
That's super fun. I'm going to keep riding this JRPG train and talk about the ending to the only JRPG I've ever finished, Ni no Kuni, baby.
Yeah.
It's I'm playing the MMO on phones right now, and I can't stop, and I don't know what's wrong with me. But the first game, the story is at the very beginning, your mom saves you from a drowning accident and like saves you, but she drowns in the process and dies. And
that still hits me.
I know it's rough. It's rough, and your tears. You play as Oliver, this little boy. His tears on his little stuffed toy bring it to life, and it brings him to this fantasy world where he's like, everyone has a soulmate. They exist in both your world and my world. So we're gonna go find your mom and set her free, but she's being held captive by the main bad guy, Shadar. And that's a really
and your stuffed toy has a cool Irish accent too.
Sorry, I didn't mean Irish accent. No, you're fine. He's in the MMO, but it's 400 years later, so he's got like really long gray hair.
Nice.
Yeah, and it's a typical JRPG. It goes way farther than it needs to. Like you fight planet-sized gods and stuff, and but at the end, it's revealed that your mom that was being held captured, it was just a memory of her that was being captured because once someone dies, they're actually gone forever. But she had that memory there so that when you found her, she would be there and be like, you don't need me. Like I raised you. I gave you everything you needed to be able to make it on your own. And look how far you've come. She's like, if you've made it here, then you've obviously made it in life, and you know exactly how to take care of yourself. And I just thought that was such an incredible message. Like,
that is.
It's tough to top that. Oof. emotionally.
Yeah, I haven't made it very far in that game, but it was 'cause the main dude, he does go through a lot too. Like he has to
Mm-hmm.
train to become like ultimate wizard or whatever,
Yeah.
and that was cool. Man, what else do I have? Let me find my list again. Oh yeah, so Catherine, right? Have you played Catherine?
I played the demo on PS3 back in the day, and it was always on my list of games to buy, but never did.
Oh man, did that burp just get into the recording? I
Nope,
hope it
sure
did.
didn't.
Awesome, good, okay. So so Catherine, uh, I guess there's different endings, but I haven't experienced the other ones except for like the good one. And the good one is when so there's three Catherines, right? There's
Mhm.
Catherine with a K, which is your fiance. Catherine with a C, which is like the I guess the fling or like the one night stand one, and then there's Rin who is like a little kid or something like that. You don't have like a
Oh,
romantic thing with the little kid one
yeah.
though. But so so the one ending that I got basically it kind of threw me for a loop because the whole time it's like, oh, you're cheating on your fiance. You're gonna have nightmares where you almost fucking die, and like one block falling on you and exploding, and there's like these sort of boss battles where you're still climbing the towers, like blocks and stuff, but there'll be like a baby with chainsaws for arms or some shit, or
Yeah, yeah.
it'll be like your fiance Catherine, but she's just this big giant monster. I forget, but um they portray it as like oh you're cursed because you cheated on your fiance or something like that, but um then it turns out that's the Catherine with a C, the one that you've been cheating with, is actually she's actually a succubus, and she's tempting. Was it she worked for Astaroth, I think his name is, who turns out to be the owner of your favorite bar that you go to in between block tower climbing session and shit. Turns out to be the old man behind the bar. Um, and it's revealed that basically he tests he tests the loyalty of men
Oh,
to women for like reproductive reasons. Like, if you're not gonna procreate with this lady and spend the rest of your life with her, then you can fuck off and die, basically. And then um, it got way crazier than I ever imagined.
yeah.
Um, but yeah, overall it was it was a great game, but totally weird.
What a fun twist. Because
And
looking at it from the outside, it looked like just a puzzle game in nightmares and then like a texting game when you're awake. So it's neat that they go sci-fi.
yeah, and there's like an extra like I'm not sure if I'd call it an ending, but it's like an extra kind of like layer to the ending where like there's a separate mode from the story mode for like challenges where you do like different little block tower puzzle challenges, and if you beat all of them, um, I guess I should have said first that the game is basically portrayed as like a television special on like the Golden Playhouse channel or something like that. And there's like this lady who's like the host of it, kind of like Elvira, but basically if you beat all the challenges, the lady, I guess that hosts the TV show or whatever the hell, she turns out to be Ishtar, and she was like, "Oh, I've been testing you to see if you're a cool guy and you want to ascend to godhood. Like, do you want to ascend to godhood, cool guy?" And you can choose yes or no, and it's crazy.
Of course. That's exactly where I thought that game would go. No, weird. I love
Yeah.
it. Did you know that there used to be a competitive Catherine scene?
Re-
Like
Really?
it was at Evo, the fighting game tournament. I just looked it up quick, and
No
there's like,
fucking way.
yeah, there's like a 5.5 hour stream from Evo 2015 for competitive Catherine.
That's that's cool, but not something I would ever want to take part in. That sounds
No.
god awful.
Oh, speaking of god awful, God, I'm getting good at these transitions. I got a
Yeah.
bad ending. It's it's for the Outer Worlds, which was a game that I loved playing through, but the ending. So you know where there are games where going into it, you know there's going to be a sequel, and so the ending is like
Yeah.
bad because they have to prepare for a sequel.
Yeah.
Outer Worlds is the opposite. It's a game where you go into it expecting there to be a sequel, but then the ending makes it so you're not sure how they can have a sequel. like, um, first of all, I had a character build that was I put the emphasis on hacking and speech because I didn't want to do a lot of combat, and then
Yeah.
at the very end you have to fight a super hard boss. There's no way around it, so that was lame. And then afterwards you get to this office lady who's like in charge of the corporation or whatever, and
Yeah.
you attack her and she just takes like two swings and then she's done, she's dead, and then credits, and then it shows like still frames with like the text on the bottom, like the end of an after school special that says like 4 years later the scientist blah blah blah, and like 6 years later the ship was never found again, and it's like giving you all this stuff for what happens in the future, and you're like, wait, why are you first of all, why
Yeah.
is
What
it
the hell?
just these still frames with text on it, and why are you telling me all this stuff? Like, shouldn't you save that for the sequel? And it's extra weird now because they've announced a sequel, and it was just it was such a good game up until that point, and then they're like, here's a really difficult boss, but then here's a lady that takes 2 hits, and then here's some still frames, and you're just like, oh, okay, what happened to all the quality?
All the quality.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's a lot of
I
thought put
remember.
into everything else, and then fart sound.
I remember Fallout 3 and New Vegas also had those kind of endings too, where like obviously your actions will select like which ending you get, but it'd be like, and so the courier like something
Really?
something
Those were like
something.
that too?
Yeah, it would be
Oh.
like there's still frames and like there'd be like a narrator saying whatever the hell happened about like the NCR, like you went and took a fat dump afterwards or something. I don't know.
Not a fan.
Um, man, I got a couple more good ones, and I can't decide which one to do. But I'm gonna do Ease 8. I think I've talked to you about this one before. Um, so Ease is like I don't really know how to explain it. Like each game is connected. Like they're all in the same like continuation. I guess if that makes sense. Like they're all
Mhm.
like the continued adventures of the main character at all. But so Ease 8, like you basically like you're on this cruise ship for I forget why. Like you're working on it with your best friend Dogi. Um, and then uh, the ship wrecks somehow, I forget, and then you wake up on this like deserted island, and you go around the island, discovering what the hell this island even is, and you find all these different people. So yeah, so you start having dreams about this lady Donna, and you don't know like who she is, but like it turns out she lived on the island like centuries ago. What was it? And like as at all, like there's literally nobody on the island except for obviously like animals, and there's somehow dinosaurs on the island as well too, but they call them
Nice.
primordials or something. Yeah, it turns out like the whole island is basically like stuck in time, pretty much. Like the island is still as it was, but like centuries ago. Like it does not age, pretty much, I guess. Which kind of doesn't make sense now that I think about it, because like how the fuck would a fire burn if time doesn't move? Maybe I'm wrong. But no, so then it turns out that Donna actually like froze herself or like preserved herself so that she could wake up in the future and what was it? Yeah, so she could wake up in the future and destroyed, like whatever destroyed her people, because she comes out of the sleep or whatever with amnesia and typical bullshit.
Yeah.
But then she gets her memories back, and it turns out she was asked. Oh, she was asked to become a warden of evolution because they were gonna wipe her species off, or they were gonna erase her species because they suck or something like that. Basically, they suck. Then they do, but Donna freezes herself. But then in the present they go and I forget how they find a way to fight the bad guys that deleted her people. And then they ask Adol to become a warden, which a warden of evolution is somebody who lives forever and oversees evolution. Make sure that what's the word I'm looking for? The best species move on, and the other shitty ones don't. They just get Control Alt Delete and they're done. End task.
A Reaper
Yeah, basically. But yeah, so you basically fight the bad guys, and you stop them from doing it again because they were gonna wake up again in Adol's time and delete humans again. So you stop that, and then something. Oh man, I had all of this down, but I totally forgot. But basically, Donna sacrifices herself because since you beat those wardens of evolution, since you beat the evolution bros, time would cease or something like that. So I forget how, becomes a goddess of time or something, and basically kind of undoes what the wardens did and a bunch of other stuff. And this is one that just still confuses the crap out of me. I'm sure you can kind of hear it in my voice. It was a great game, very cool. The story still kind of doesn't make sense now that I'm trying to explain it in person, but it was cool. Yeah.
Does it?
Yeah.
Did I hear correctly that it has another ascending to godhood moment?
Basically, yeah. Yep.
That's what makes a good video game ending, ascending to godhood. That's all you need.
I think I'm trying to recount what the hell I learned on that, and I'm pretty sure that's exactly how it went. None of it really. How the fuck does time? How does a fire work on an island that's paused in time? Because they had fires going all over the place. How they had torches.
How could you breathe?
Yeah, exactly. How could anything?
I don't know. You're gonna have to Google that, and we'll have a update on a future episode.
Yeah, there we go.
I've got a good ending, and it's going to be untraditional, and I guarantee you're not going to see it coming, but when I explain it, it's going to make sense. One of my favorite video game endings was for Guitar Hero 3. That was my first Guitar Hero. You beat the game, and the credits start rolling, and you play a song throughout the credits, and it's Through the Fire and Flames by Dragon Force. And it's a great song to play. It's the most difficult song in Guitar Hero history, and it's just such a cool thing to be playing the super hard song as the credits are going, and you're like, what is going on? Why is this so difficult? It's insane. And that, I don't listen to Dragon Force, but I feel like that was a pretty defining moment for them, and it's a pretty, whenever anyone mentions hard Guitar Hero songs, it's Through the Fire and Flames. That's the defining hard song. And what makes that ending even better for me is they tried replicating it in future Guitar Hero games, and none of the other songs came even close.
That's right.
I played Guitar Hero Aerosmith. They tried doing the same thing, and it was some easy song that I got 99% of the notes right, and I was like, what was that? And Guitar Hero 4,
I can't imagine.
It was some song that was supposed to be difficult, but it was easy again, and I'm like, what? And for Guitar Hero 5, they were like, this song is harder than Through the Fire and Flames. And it wasn't. It wasn't. I don't know how you do that.
what was it? I can't imagine Aerosmith being very like technical or difficult at all. I don't know how they tried to do that. What was it? What was the ultimate song? The super hard song for Guitar Hero Metallica. I feel like I know what it was.
Oh,
But
I should know that too. I played a ton of. I don't know if they had one.
I
Metallica
feel like
credits song. Let's see.
there should have. I'm pretty sure there was one.
Oh, the Ice Cave. No, that's the credit stage. My bad. It was like it was like through ice or something. Let me look at the full song list.
Was it Trapped Under Ice?
Yeah, trapped on.
Like...
I want to say it was trapped under ice. No, the thing that should not be.
Oh, really?
I think so. Let me. We're gonna go to YouTube, and I'm gonna have to mute it before it plays. Guitar Hero Metallica.
Oh yeah.
Credits. Okay. Mute. Yes, I muted it. So it looks like it was only credits.
Huh.
There was no song to play.
What the hell?
Talk about disappointing.
I know. I remember. Did you ever play? I forget. I think it was Rock Band 3, where like the hard song of that game was some Judas Priest song. Painkiller, because it had like a wicked drum solo at the beginning.
Hmm. I remember that song, but I didn't think I had played Guitar Hero 3, but I must have.
I'm pretty sure it was Rock Band 3. Yeah, whatever. No, Guitar Hero 3 was so good though. That was one that had Tom Morello
Mhm.
and Guns N' Roses got Slash. That's right. It was
Yeah.
Slash, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was. And it had the best version of Devil Went Down to Georgia.
Oh yes, the fucking the metal one. That was
Yeah.
so good.
So good. The only thing that sucked was having the boss fights and the power-ups that they would send at you. Like the one switching it to left-handed. It's impossible.
Oh. Everything else was like it was at least manageable.
Yeah.
Like, I forget what the other ones even were, but they were easy to get around. But yeah, that one that switches it to lefty was for sure a huge dick move.
Yeah.
So the next ending I have was trying to find my list again.
Mhm.
Crap. Oh yeah, so Bravely Default, right? Like the first Bravely Default.
Mm-hmm.
The whole story to that was kind of a big old trip for sure. So it kind of plays out like an early Final Fantasy, you know, 4 warriors of light, you know, go find the crystals and awaken them before the bad dudes destroy them, or like they just stop working or whatever. And you're like, well, alright, so you go to each temple of each crystal and you beat a boss and you awaken the crystal and you think, alright, we're gonna save the fucking world, man, 4th crystal, let's do this. And then the whole time there's this like not in your party, but like she's with your party. She's this little fairy called Aerie. Great name. What is it? She's the fairy of the wind crystal or something like that. And she's the one that tells your party, you know, hey, go awaken these crystals and save the world. But like later on, you start to find out that like Ares up to some shit. Like this doesn't seem right. And come to find out that like you guys going through and like awakening the crystals is actually like a really bad thing, because like when you do, it'll open up this like portal to another world or something. Which like in the beginning of the game, this like big old earthquake happened, and this big old like chasm ripped open in the earth, like this gigantic chasm, and people were thinking, you know, hey, that's probably because the crystals are out of whack or whatever, you know. But yeah, so it turns out that once you awaken all four crystals, basically you'll rip open another chasm, and then it kind of just like goes down this like time loop of like you do that, the chasm opens, the universe restarts, and then four more warriors do it, and then it keeps going like that and that and that. But then there's two endings kinda. The first one is like basically you get a chance or a choice to destroy one of the crystals, like the last crystal before you awaken it. And if you do, what was it? I forget exactly what happens, but you basically foil Ares' plot, but you kind of like you doom that element or something like that. I forget. But then if you if you do awaken all the crystals, and you have to, oh gosh, I forget. You can awaken all four crystals. Once that happens, this pillar of light shines down somewhere. The pillar, you boss or something. No, you go to the pillar. You basically time resets to before you went on your journey to go awaken those crystals. Yeah, and basically the game makes you repeat that same bullshit like 4 times, where you go to each temple, awaken the crystals, beat each boss at each temple. Pillar of light comes down, you go to the pillar of light, time resets, and you do that shit like 3 more times.
Oh wow.
And then basically, what was it? Yeah, you do that, and then the group confronts Ari about it or something like that, and she basically like said, let me. Man, I had this one. Oh, I thought I had this one memorized. Let me find it again.
No worries.
Oh no, that's right. Okay, so so it's as you go through each cycle of awakening the crystals, being the bosses, going to the Pillar of Light. As you do each cycle, you learn more and more about Ares nonsense.
Mm-hmm.
So on the last time you do it, like before you destroy that last crystal, and then Ares gets mad and she attacks your party. You beat her ass. She retreats. You track her down. You beat her ass, and then her boss Ouroboros comes out. You beat his ass, and then yeah, basically you stop that whole cycle, because what they were doing was trying to like link multiple worlds so that Ouroboros could like exist in multiple worlds or something like that. Some convoluted nonsense, but it was a lot more than what I was expecting it to be like generic like Final Fantasy 1 type bullshit, but it's another one of those where I didn't really understand it, but
that's exactly what I was thinking. Is that it's cool how it starts off as like stereotypical go to the crystals, do the things, and then just flips it on its head.
It really did. I think I messaged you about it like once I found out about all this bullshit. I was like, Thomas,
wake up!
Shook you awake.
Ari, you gotta know about Ari.
Ari, she's got a totally original name, by the way, but Ari the fucking fairy.
She's trying to ascend to godhood. We gotta stop her.
She basically, I mean, she really pretty much was. More godhood.
I got one more weird ending, and it's from this game called The Stanley Parable. There's a path that you can go down where you end up on this platform in darkness, and there's just a bunch of lights going around, and the narrator for like the first time is like, Stanley, I actually feel happy. If we were to spend the rest of our time just standing right here doing nothing but enjoying each other's company, I would be happy. And I really like that. I was like, that's cool. And you can just stand there, but like the game doesn't end or anything. You turn around and go into the next room and find a really tall staircase that basically goes up to the roof, and you walk up it up to the top of the steps, and then you jump down and injure yourself, And the narrator was like, Stanley, what are you doing? Why are you doing this? Don't you want to spend time with me? And you have to climb up it, like, slowly 3 more times until you eventually kill yourself. And
Oh my
the
god.
whole time the narrator was like, was it something I said? Are you sure we can't talk about this? And I hated it. I hated doing that. And I was like, why am I doing this? Makes me really sad and uncomfortable. I feel bad for the narrator. And it was just
Or narrator.
and after the last time when you die, the game just restarts and you start another run. But it was just such a weird thing to include, you killing yourself.
For that game especially, where it sounds like a more goofy game than a serious one.
Do you have any more endings?
I had one kind of. The ending to Golden Sun was really really cool because it ties like directly into the second one. But what sucks though is if so Golden Sun, you climb to the top of. So there's one tower for each element. I forget which tower. You climb to the top 2 at the end of Golden Sun, but you beat the bosses, and then it goes like to be continued, and as a kid who got Golden Sun from some grocery store in Podunk ass Iowa, I was like they don't have this second game. Like what happens? What the fuck is happening? Like why does the earth shake? Like why are they falling from the tower for whatever reason? Like, what exactly is happening? And, it's cool that it did that to make you want to buy the second game, but it's also kind of an asshole move because, I didn't have anywhere to get the second game.
Was that your first cliffhanger? The first cliffhanger in your life?
I think.
Oh, what a horrible experience.
I'm pretty sure it was, actually. Yeah.
That's good.
Sounds about
cliffhangers. That was all the endings I have, which means that you and I have discussed every good, bad, and weird ending in video games. If you listeners can think of another video game ending that you think is good or bad or weird, you're wrong.
We'll accept your your submissions, but I mean you're still very wrong.
Yeah, let us know which ones you think are good or bad or weird. Because I want to hear them. Because I haven't finished a lot of games, so let me know. And email us at superpodsaga@gmail.com or follow us on Twitter or do whatever you want.
Or there's the Facebook where I'm just gonna post memes or something. I'm not really entirely sure.
Memes, tasty memes.
Fresh, hot off the press.
So, Mr. Aaron, what is going to be our topic for next week?
Oh man, there were 2 that I was really torn between, but I think what I'm going to go with is we're going to talk about games that we consider hidden gems, games that we love, but are nobody else talks about or are just kind of obscure.
Ooh, I've got some good ones I'm thinking of already. That'll be fun.
Yeah, I've got a huge amount of them.
Have you heard of this game called Skyrim? Hidden gem.
I haven't, but oh man, have you heard about Red Dead Redemption 2? It's cowboys, and you can skin
cowboys. A video game with cowboys? Now I've heard everything.
And they're skinning.
Tune in next week to hear more about the hidden gems of the video game world, like Skyrim and Red Dead Redemption 2. Anything else you want to say to the listeners, Aaron? And skinning.
Yeah. No, that's about it. Feel free to send me. Feel free to, tweet us on Twitter with your favorite animals to skin on Red Dead Redemption 2.
Yes, absolutely. Thank you for listening, listeners. Have a great, wonderful day. Bye.